KBC originally was KBL, कौन बनेगा लखपति. The plan was कि 1 लाख का प्राइस देंगे. रूपर्ट मर्डॉक आए थे इंडिया में. When we were deciding to do it, I had only one choice, Mr. Bachchan. वो ये लिस्ट पे एक ही था. So I approached him. I showed him the tape and the program and everything. And then उसके बाद एक थोड़ा सा जर्नी तो हुआ ही, because you know he was highly undecided, rightfully so, because you know it's a big moment. So there were a lot of moving parts. Most of her family was against it, all friends against it, and I think anybody whom he spoke to, ज़्यादातर के सभी ने कहा था कि मत करिए, you know this is not a good thing to do. उसी टाइम पे I think around April 2000, Ekta and Jitu ji had come to meet me and pitched a show. They spoke about this show. It was at that time called सास भी कभी बहू थी, क्योंकि नहीं था उसमें.
Radio Nasha.
समीर, थैंक यू सो मच मेरे रेडियो शो पर आने के लिए.
थैंक यू सो मच.
रेडियो सुनते हैं आप?
हाँ सुनते हैं, बहुत सुनते हैं.
गाड़ी में?
हाँ गाड़ी में सुनते हैं.
You know, for somebody who's been involved with Indian television for so many years, हम रेडियो नशा पर of course Indian television की बहुत बातें करते हैं, because we grew up in a time जहाँ पर महाभारत आती थी टेलीविजन पर, आपको याद होगा, and हम चप्पल उतार के घर के अंदर आया करते थे. Do you remember that nascent television of India उस टाइम पर जो होता था?
हाँ, actually वो टाइम पे is when I started my career. So I started in TV in 89. तो वो टाइम पे सिर्फ दूरदर्शन होता था. This is before satellite TV came, and I have done a lot of work with Doordarshan at that time. So जैसे कि I used to work in one advertising agency in Chennai, Goldwire. तो वहाँ पे वो हमारा प्लान होता था कि हम लोग we used to import programs from abroad, and MRF जो हमारा क्लाइंट था, उनके लिए प्रोग्राम DD पे डालते थे और फिर MRF से स्पॉन्सरशिप लेते थे. तो I have done things like Street Hawk, Night Rider, Glow Friends, My Little Pony, ऐसे. Then I've also done the Grammy Awards.
Yes.
The one जब Milli Vanilli got caught for being fake later. That award we edited and put out. We did the Filmfare Awards. The 1990 Filmfare Awards was happened at Centaur, Bombay. We were from Goldwire, rights हमारे पास थे. And then UTV at that time, Ronnie and Zarina were in UTV, which was a part of Western Outdoor. So they were the producers. So I mean, I remember वो TV. I remember very well. All the shows, you know, Bunyad, and there was Khandan, and
और आगे चलकर देख भाई
देख के, and all that. So I think हम सभी we have grown up with that same period of TV.
Yeah, and I think we
same
are a
period
very
of films.
interesting generation, क्योंकि हम आते हैं of course from the 70s and 80s, जहाँ पर cinema viewing इतना एक wholesome experience हुआ करता था. पूरी मतलब जो country थी एक ही dialogue बोलते थे, you know, and I used to love that. And then I was the baby of the 91 television boom, जहाँ पर satellite television हमारे घरों में आ गया. और मुझे याद है कि हम बच्चों को सिर्फ अंग्रेजी टेलीविजन देखना था, लेकिन आपने हमें फोर्स किया, because हमारे, and then this was about 10 years in, that the entire family started watching TV together thanks to you. और हमारे घर में, क्योंकि हम साउथ इंडियन घर से हैं, it was very important that we watched educational programs. So if there was anything educational, तो मेरे mom और dad बोलते थे कि ये तो तुम्हें देखना ही चाहिए. तो I'll give you an example, Bonvita quiz contest, every Sunday. तो हम वो देख के बड़े हुए. And then you made quiz or quizzing so interesting for adults of the generation. जब KBC हमारे ज़िंदगी में आया, और मेरी जो ऑडियंस है वो बच्चन साहब की फ़ैन है, मतलब वो हम जैसे ही हैं. You know, we have the same sort of legacies, right, when we come to fandom. Correct. And I remember that KBC changed the way we watched Indian television, क्योंकि हमने कहा 9 बज गए क्या, you know. और मुझे आज तक याद है वो रात जब KBC in 2000, I was at Haji Ali, and it was a regular day, I remember, and there would have been traffic. But मुझे याद है कि it was like a cricket match between India and Pakistan. सड़कें खाली थी and people were waiting for Mr. Bachchan on TV. मुझे पता है कि आपके पास बहुत सारी कहानियाँ हैं, लेकिन मिस्टर बच्चन को टेलीविज़न पर उस दौर में ले आना क्या आपके लिए आसान था? क्या उनको कन्विंस करना आसान था?
एक्चुअली जब हमने डिसाइड किया कि अभी हम KBC बनाने वाले हैं, तो इट वेंट थ्रू 1-2 जर्नी ऑफ इट्स ओन. KBC ओरिजिनली वाज KBL, कौन बनेगा लखपति. द प्लान वाज कि 1 लाख का प्राइस देंगे. रूपर्ट मर्डॉक आए थे इंडिया में. उनको जब प्रेजेंट कर रहे थे तो उन्होंने पूछा कि व्हाट्स द ओरिजिनल शो को बुलाते थे हु वांट्स टू बी अ मिलियनेयर. मिलियनेयर इज $1 million, व्हिच वाज अबाउट I think $1 million is a lot of money.
Lot of money.
India के लिए तो ज़्यादा ही था. It was 4.5 crores at the time.
Yeah.
So we said कि भाई ये तो कौन बनेगा लखपति 1 lakh है, and that was I think about $4,000-5,000. So then he said, that's pathetic. What's the next one? So we said it's 1 crore. तो ऐसे ही हो गया कौन बनेगा करोड़पति. So when we were deciding to do it, I had only one choice, Mr. Bachchan. वो ये list पे एक ही था. So I approached him. I showed him the tape and the program and everything. And then उसके बाद एक थोड़ा सा journey तो हुआ ही, because he was highly undecided. Rightfully so, because it's a big moment. Television, you're talking about 2000. Television was just nascent. Star Plus, we were to number 3 at the time. Quiz show, and Amitji is now going to become a TV host. TV host, yeah. Kind of thing. So there were a lot of moving parts. Most of her family was against it. All friends against it. And I think anybody whom he spoke to, ज़्यादातर के सभी ने कहा था कि मत करिए. This is not a good thing to do. I was of course, मैं तो convince करते गया, सब कुछ, बार-बार, करना चाहिए, we should do. And so it was a good idea to do in any case. फिर हम लोग लंदन गए. तो जब लंदन गए, we had actually taken him there to, एक तो है दिखाने के लिए कि क्या होगा, कैसे करेंगे, what is the whole thing. And second thing was that वहाँ पे promos भी shoot करने थे, to start with. तो फिर लंदन गए, वहाँ पे when he saw the whole setup and all of that, then he felt better. So on the way back on the flight, he told me, in fact, he said that, Sameer, agar if you do it exactly the way we've seen it, तो फाड़ के रख देंगे. So I said, no, the plan is to do exactly the way you saw it. And in fact, later, Film City में, we recreated the London studio. Means down to the last possible detail, including, अंदर कैसे जाते हैं, अंदर जाके right लें या left लें, set कहाँ है, control room कहाँ है. We sort of recreated it as close as possible. But I think final decision तो उनका ही था कि now he's going to do it.
Yeah.
So despite objection from, I would say, everyone, he went along with what I said and we did it.
Yes.
And then of course, it turned out to be a wild success because, and later hindsight when you talk about, your audience, and that how we all grew up watching his movies and doing that.
Yes.
तो क्या हुआ कि when the show came on air, of course it was a great show and of course he's a great host. And it's a quiz format, knowledge, learning, all of that, well produced, But also क्या हुआ कि उस time पे जो TV था, that was in the remote was in the control of the parents.
बिल्कुल.
And the parents का hero at the 35 to 45 age group was Amitabh Bachchan, not Shah Rukh Khan at that time.
Yeah.
So while Shah Rukh was the reigning superstar, but the person who had the remote control in their hand, for them, their superstar was Amitabh Bachchan. And now when they see him in this light, speaking chaste Hindi, chaste English and baritone voice and giving gyan
like,
and
that's why
so
he's
well
Bachchan.
dressed and all that. Yeah. So in a sense, this older generation got to introduce their hero to a younger generation. The younger generation, of course, was blown away by the dazzle and the show. And of course, Mr. Bachchan himself is, extremely... So I think the whole package came together really well, and it was
It was madly successful, and I remember this कि मेरे dad, मम्मी बोलती थी हमको कि उनको disturb मत करो, वो AB के साथ बैठे हैं. It's true how we impacted the lives of humans, around, because that sort of understanding of you brought families together, और ये एक बहुत बड़ी चीज़ थी उस time पर. I also remember you are often called the reason why the soaps revolution or the K revolution happened in India. तो जितनी भी मेरी audience है, आज भी अगर मैं एकता कपूर के serials की बात करूँ, तो वो अभी भी कहते हैं कि ऐसा कोई शो नहीं था जैसे कि क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी था. तो उस दौर में वो आपको क्यों लगा था कि ये work करेगा?
So दो चीजें हुई. एक तो हम लोग KBC बना रहे थे. So Star and Z were partners in 99 and had been all through the 90s. So 2000 में the partnership split. So we were going our way, they were going their way, and we Star Plus could go and become a full Hindi channel. उसके पहले we used to be half Hindi, half English. So we used to have news. Then we used to have all sorts of English shows. We used to do Rendezvous with Simika Rewal. We used to do Veer Sanghvi के साथ talk show. अलग-अलग चीजें होते रहते थे. We used to also show English, British shows in the night. Star Plus was a bit of a hodgepodge. So the plan became कि भाई अभी पूरा हिंदी जा रहा है तो चलते हैं. Let's do Hindi. So first thing was कि we'll make Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So that was the main. We were working on that. उसी time पे I think around April 2000. Ekta and Jitu ji had come to meet me, and pitched a show saying, you know, कि हमें एक show बनाना है, and yeah, at that time Ekta was very famous for her comedies. She used to make a show called Hum Panch, and it was a very big and popular show. And she wanted to break out of comedy and do drama, but Bombay में कोई chance नहीं दे रहा था. She had at that time done एक successful show था तमिल में called Kudumbam. So she had done that. So she had already made that as a daily soap, you know, but हिंदी में वो हो नहीं रहा था. So when they came and met me, they spoke about this show. It was at that time called सास भी कभी बहू थी, क्योंकि नहीं था उसमें. And this was the plot, simple, you know, like there is a, you know, mother-in-law and the daughter and the mother-in-law and father-in-law. They have 3 children and 3 bahus. And now the eldest son of the eldest bahu gets married, and therefore new bahu comes, and therefore saas bhi kabhi bahu thi. You know, because she was bahu till then, now she's become saas kind of thing. And no big large family. But that उस time पे Star Plus में we were struggling with Hindi content. So nobody wanted to work with us. All the big producers would never make shows with us. So the big producers of that time who were doing the big Hindi shows, like there was Amanat, all the ones that Z was doing basically, Z and Sony. तो वो producers हमारे साथ काम ही नहीं करना चाह रहे थे, because हमारे ratings बहुत low थे. जैसे कि यार तुम्हारे साथ बनाएंगे, वो लगा दोगे, रेटिंग नहीं आएगा, फ्लॉप हो जाएगा, तुम लोग निकाल दोगे. सो वी weren't able to anyway attract that crowd of, you know, the hardcore Hindi masala. So it was, I guess, you know, it was that right time, वो magical meeting होता ही है. So then we met. I said, okay, done. Let's do it as a daily soap. Let's do it in prime time. तो they went away to now make it. हम तो we were very busy with KBC. तो KBC बन रहा था, अप्रैल मई जून हो रहा था. Suddenly जून में I remember I asked one day कि what happened to that, वो एकता कपूर का शो का क्या हुआ, वो भी तो लॉन्च करना है जुलाई में. So then the next day they said कि वो भेज रही है कुछ टेप्स. So संडे का दिन था, I was going to KBC. So I came to the office to pick up something, and there was this EP of ours who was sitting and watching something. So I said, what are you doing on a Sunday? She says, the tapes have come from Balaji. So I said, oh. So we both sat and watched 4 episodes of Kyunki. And then the next day I came to office. I asked the rest of the team कि भाई क्या है, क्या करें अभी इसको. So they were thinking अभी क्या करना है, अभी feedback भेजेंगे, no replies भेजेंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे. तो I said एक काम करते हैं, let's not do any of that. I said कि अभी ये जो बना है, it's made with a certain sensibility. अभी हम लोग ना some from जामिया, some from FTI, some from जादवपुर यूनिवर्सिटी, अभी ना बड़े intellectual लोग हैं. यहाँ पे कुछ ना कुछ तो हम लोग, no, it's not. If we don't understand it, we should not meddle with it. Yes. So I think it's good show. It's well made. Let it go on air as is, and that's what happened. So we just put Kyunki on air on the same night as KBC. It went on there on the same night, July 3rd, 2000. So KBC went on air, Kyunki went on air. KBC, of course, was the big smash hit. Correct. But then over the next 3 months, Kyunki sort of gradually picked up in viewership. Then we quickly followed it up. फिर then उसके बाद हुआ कहानी, फिर कसौटी, फिर कहीं किसी रोज, फिर
How did the Kyunki come? अगर पहले सास भी कभी बोला.
I think along the way. I think between वो April to June meeting में, I think there's also this word numerology. Yes. You know that
because
symbolism.
Because could it be Kudumbam that started the trend? Because a lot of people.
K actually has been a favorite letter for many people. So even in the industry, Rakesh Roshan has the same K thing. Yes. So many people have these words and letters and all that, which is a thing. I mean,
do you have any?
I don't have. I'm happy to work with people who have all these things. You know, like I mean,
I'm good to go. Let them have the soup. Yeah, whatever works.
Yeah,
right?
I'm happy.
It's been 5 years since Applause. You know, आपका एक baby जो है वो पैदा हुआ, and you've given us some absolutely fabulous entertainment. ये जो शिफ्ट है ओके आपके लिए, हाउ डिड यू परसीव इट, कि क्या ये ऑडियंसेस नए थे 5 साल पहले जो स्ट्रीमिंग की दुनिया में थे, क्योंकि उस वक्त पर स्ट्रीमिंग वो नहीं था, पैंडेमिक हुआ नहीं था, तो हाउ वर यू कन्विंस्ड फॉर योरसेल्फ कि दिस वाज द फ्यूचर?
एक्चुअली 5 years back, and in fact 3 years before that, I was working with Balaji, and we were working to launch Alt Balaji. So what I'm saying, I have had this little theory that India is divided between Nagin and Narcos.
Yes.
So there is a audience in India, छोटा upper crust जो है, जो Narcos and therefore watch foreign programming basically. तो जो Star World देखते हैं, Colors Infinity देखते हैं, there is that 2-3 million. Then there is a giant mass audience which watches Nagin and उसके जैसे सास बहू shows. तो ये 15-20 साल में one new group has emerged in the middle between Nagin and Narcos. कि tired of Nagin but don't want to watch Narcos. So that was always going to be the audience, that जिनको देखना है कि कुछ और दिखाओ यार.
So interesting. It's like a new middle class.
New middle class emerging.
Yeah.
And that new middle class was ready. 4G happened.
Yeah.
Jio happened. Devices were there. You know, वो market was formatting. Netflix had arrived.
Correct.
Amazon was arriving. So the sense was कि इनको shows देने ही पड़ेंगे. और जब देने पड़ेंगे तो बेस्ट पार्ट इन इंडिया कि कुछ रेडी तो है नहीं.
हाँ.
क्योंकि किसी ने बनाया नहीं, क्योंकि टीवी तो सिर्फ सास बहू शो बना रहा था इतने सालों से. सो देयर इज नो, सो समबडी हैव टू मेक इट. सो हमारा प्लान यही था, हम बनाएंगे, हम इन्वेस्ट करेंगे और फिर लाइसेंस करेंगे. सो दैट वाज द प्लान. इसी चक्कर में घुस गए करने के लिए. बट फनली इनफ व्हाट अपलॉज इज डूइंग is something I had wanted to do in 99. So 99 में when I was in Star, I had spent 6-7 years in Star, and it was like कि अभी यार बहुत हो गया, अभी पिक्चर बनाते हैं, स्टूडियो करते हैं, ये टीवी भी नहीं करना. So I had actually made a plan to set up an Applause in 99.
Wow, okay.
But then what happened instead was that suddenly the Star management changed. The Mr. Basu and team who were there were asked to go. Peter became CEO, I became head of programming, and I went to do KBC and Kyoki instead.
Yes.
तो मेरा ये Applause का प्लान थोड़ा डिले हो गया.
क्योंकि उस दौर में तो आपको फिल्में बनानी थी, मुझे याद है.
हाँ,
आप तो बच्चन साहब के पास भी गए थे कि आपके पास एक स्क्रिप्ट थी.
हाँ, so that in fact that script and that meeting didn't happen because I got promoted on that day.
Exactly.
So I met him 1 year later with KBC and he remembered that and he said कि तुम स्क्रिप्ट लेके आने वाले थे, तो ऐसे अभी सर ये शो देख लो आप. So I think that audience is now come and it's growing. As it's growing, so now all three will exist. So TV भी रहेगा, the manner that it is. Films will continue and OTT will also happen.
I want to go back to Scam because Scam was that scam that suddenly put everybody in front of our OTT channels. और मुझे ये भी याद है, the joke is that the Scam was Sony Live and I feel bad for it because that platform perhaps was not able to handle the amount of people watching that show at that point because किसी ने इतना expect नहीं किया था. But you knew, right? Because this story stayed with you for way beyond Applause. पहले से आपको
we've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, when the whole Harshvita thing happened, I was like just started working.
Yes.
That is like early 90s. So I had already started working in advertising and I had just come to Bombay. So that's a thing with us. So see, for us, Scam became like a journey then.
Yes.
We had bought the book. Then we signed up Hansal. Then as it went along, it took time writing because Hansal bhi busy the.
Yeah.
He had other things happening. We were still, from asking more things, Scam was one of the first few things we did when Applause started. So while other shows released first and Scam became release number 20, it was probably in one of the first 4 or 5 shows we greenlit.
Correct.
So it just took its time. But Baran, everything came together. So वो होता है ना कि every show you make, you're working very hard for it, but sometimes some things come together very magically, like KBC or Kyoki or Scam.
Correct.
So it comes together really, like together. So Pratik got cast, Mukesh Chabra did fantastic ensemble casting around it. The writing was good. Karan Vyas, actually we had the screenplays, everything done, and then we went through one lull for about 4 or 5 months because even though there were great screenplays, we weren't feeling it. Like, I don't know. Even Hansal saying, I know. Okay, let me come back, So then 4 महीने गए. फिर 4 महीने के बाद he returns and he says that I want you to hear something. So then he comes back and he comes with this young boy called Karan Vyas. So Karan Vyas wrote the dialogues. Right? And the new dialogue version now suddenly made our old screenplay come alive.
Yeah.
Because then suddenly it all became all that,
Risk,
sort of
yes.
No, Riske to Ishke was there, was there.
Correct.
But all the other little things, Sun Lala and Fefda and Fafda and this and that, the whole situation. And suddenly the whole, even the normal, even other characters talking.
Correct.
Everybody then got that little bit of that flavor of that, this thing. And then we shot, in fact, we finished shooting just, I think, 10 days before the lockdown.
Yes.
So the whole post-production of Scam happened in the lockdown.
In the lockdown,
And then the first time we met after that was on the night of its release at the Sony office. So Hansal, me, Danish and Deepak and Priya had a drink in the basement. Saying cheers and...
हो गया ये Scam हमने release कर. And also the fact that I love it because when I look at your career, I just feel that you strike gold, but very consistently. So, and it is gold, right? So whether it's a KBC or whether it's a Kyoki, and then you have a Scam, and then you have something else. So when you look back at these landmarks that you've been, these cultural landmarks, I would say pop culture landmarks, Do you think that there was some insight there for you to have backed certain projects? Like, I'll tell you from the outside, I always feel that you seem to know the perfect combination of the old and the new. Would you give yourself credit for that?
I don't know whether, most of all, great success sounds better in hindsight.
Yeah. But when you're doing it, you don't know.
When you're doing it, you're just doing it, which is why, even like if you take a sport metaphor,
correct,
most of sports is measured in score lines,
correct,
right? We won by
correct,
so many runs, he
yeah,
won by so many sets.
Correct.
Federer's Wimbledon score is 6-3, 4-6, 6-3, 6-2.
Correct.
Right? But the game is actually quite different.
Yes.
You got to go playing point by point, ball by ball, set by set. You win some, you lose some, you fall, you get up, you take breaks. All of that happens.
Correct.
So I think when you finally won, then of course your name comes up on the board and it feels good. You won 8 Wimbledon, so that's good.
Correct.
But the process is actually what's fun. And you can't anticipate that. So like when we were doing KBC, show we knew कि बना रहे हैं KBC, good show है, Amit ji आएंगे, it'll be very big unique thing, no one has ever seen anything like that. Game show होगा, all of that is right. सिद्धार्थ बासु के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, we're doing a lot of hard work, but it will go on to become a cultural phenomena. Who knows?
Exactly.
In hindsight, what happens is that you realize that, this means everything came together brilliantly. So like I always like to tell people that with KBC, in Mr. Bachchan we got a diamond, but we also set him in gold.
Yes,
we didn't. It was not ki mitti mein laga diya kind of thing. So it was also made well. Everything was done in that manner to create something that India had never seen before.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Kyoki and Kahani was simple, homegrown dal chawal thing. So like the conversation with Jitendra Kapoor at the time when I was not talking to him. So I could never tell anyone about KBC because that was the state secret.
Yes.
So no one knew that we were doing it. So what I had told him at that time was कि जीतू जी ऐसा है कि अभी मैं ना एक बहुत बड़ा महल बनाने जा रहा हूँ और वो महल जब बनेगा तो फिर हम लोग दरवाज़ा खोलेंगे और सबको दावत देंगे तो पूरा दुनिया आएगा वो महल में देखने के लिए पर जब आएंगे तो खाना आपको खिलाना पड़ेगा. So that was the sort of premise on Kyonki. And he said, and actually it played out exactly like that. The whole world came to see KBC, but they stayed back to watch Kyonki Kahani.
Yeah, and that spillover audience. Is there a piece of advice or insight that you'd like to offer the Hindi film industry when it comes to making these stories?
I can't offer the Hindi film.
For the big screen.
Yeah, but I can tell you one thing कि जब पहले भी अगर आपको याद है before OTT came, तो TV होता था, theaters होते थे. तो वो टाइम में भी 30-40 साल से पिक्चर बनती है, पिक्चर रिलीज होती है. अगर आर्ट फिल्म है, छोटी फिल्म है, it releases in a lesser number of screens and then if it's good, it gets word of mouth, it picks up, it gets more shows. Meanwhile, अगर अमित जी की पिक्चर आ रही है या कोई बिग शाहरुख खान की पिक्चर आ रही है, तो it comes and releases on 6,000 screens and then gets all the shows and everything. So the small movies released in the theatre get a limited number of screens. And then a big Shah Rukh Khan or Amitabh Bachchan movie gets 6,000 screens and gets all the shows and goes on to become a hit. The picture thi Vicky Donor. It released in some, I think, 150 screens. Then there was another big movie that had released with it. वो time पे वो नहीं चली. Vicky Donor को बहुत word of mouth मिला. People loved Vicky Donor. It got more and more shows, more and more screens. By the time Vicky Donor finished its run, it had got up to some 1,000-1,500 screens. Screen size had increased for it. So अभी क्या हो गया with OTT is that people बहुत ऐसा डिसाइड करने की कोशिश में कि should this be made for small screen or large screen or what are we doing? What हम लोग का कोशिश है कि भाई हम तो स्टोरी बना रहे हैं and story has to reach an audience, right? Ideally all movies should be released theatrically.
Correct.
Smaller movies get lesser screens and lesser shows, but they're also made at that budget.
Correct.
Right? They're made at that budget. अगर ऑडियंस है जिसको पसंद है जिसको जाके देखना है राइट नाइट शो एक शो है 10:30 PM शो इज अवेलेबल ऑफ अपर्णा सेन्स द रेपिस्ट जाके देखिए वो भी ओनली इन 100-150 स्क्रीन्स तो है देखिए उसके बाद इट एंड अप ऑन अ प्लेटफॉर्म Lal Singh Chaddha will release, it will go to 6,000 screens. It should. So I think it's not really about what kind of thing to make. Ki everything has to be Kabir Singh. Everything has to be like that. ऐसा नहीं है. The OTT has brought itna variety in our life and we have seen so many different things. I don't think India or anywhere is going to go back to कि हमें सिर्फ मैग्नम ओपस देखना है, नहीं तो हम थिएटर नहीं
जाएंगे।
वो तो होगा ही नहीं, आपको घर से तो निकलना ही पड़ेगा ना। और ऑल्सो मैग्नम ओपस का क्या होता है कि एक लिमिट होता है कि कितने मैग्नम ओपस बन सकते हैं। मैग्नम ओपस बनाते 5 साल लग जाते हैं। तो अगर आपको हर फ्राइडे मैग्नम ओपस देखना है तो वो होगा नहीं। बट यू स्टिल वांट टू गो आउट, यू स्टिल वांट टू लीड योर लाइफ, यू वांट टू गो आउट विद योर गर्लफ्रेंड, यू वांट टू गो आउट विद योर फैमिली, यू वांट टू जस्ट हैव अ गो फॉर अ कॉमेडी, गो एंड सी अ कॉमेडी एंड लाफ। तो दैट्स नॉट मैग्नम ओपस, वो तो कॉमेडी है। तो देख लो, चुपके चुपके फिर बनी। At Amitabh Bachchan's heyday, Rishikesh Mukherjee and Amitabh Bachchan also made movies. He also did Chupke Chupke, he also did Abhiman, he also did Milli. वो भी तो हुआ same time पे. So I don't think कि ऐसा कि either it is सब कुछ अभी आर्टी बने, सब कुछ अभी एजी बने, सब कुछ अभी बड़ा बने, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। सब कुछ
वो कहानी बनाओ जो आपको बोलनी है।
कहानी बनाओ जो आपको बोलनी है और जो लोगों को सुननी है। वो एक और बात है हमारे बिजनेस में, वो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट बात है कि स्टोरी टेलिंग इज वन थिंग, स्टोरी लिसनिंग इज इक्वली इम्पोर्टेंट।
You know, I could talk to you forever, but I mustn't. I must go and make time for my comrades from the industry. But thank you so much, Radio Nasha, for आने के लिए. You're truly, you know, one of my most special guests.
Thank you so
because
much.
you have shaped unknowingly, so you know, my life. So thank you so much for that, Mr. Nair.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Radio Nasha.